Welcome back to the channel, guys. As you can see here, we have a huge problem here and our fence was busted. So we're gonna try and fix this and show you how we did it so you can fix a post in the middle of your white vinyl fence as well. We're gonna start off with removing that post. Thankfully ours was busted, so we're gonna remove the top rails from both sides and then pull it off. Then we're going to start off with some tools. I started off with some pliers and some cutters to try and cut down the side of that post because we really need to lift those bottom rails up and off of that post. They didn't work, so I used a Sawzall and then cut down from the top to basically open up a channel so I could lift those bottom rails up and out of that bad post. So once we have that opening, we will go ahead and pull our bottom rail from each side out. You can see the first one is really easy, and then I kind of destroyed the rest of the post a little bit, so I could lift up that whole fencing segment and then just move it out of the way for the time being. As you can see here, there's just a small bit left in the ground that I'm going to try and loosen up with our small ditch shovel or a trenching shovel, and really all you need to do is one side of this post. If you can get all the way down to the bottom of the concrete and the post on one side, then eventually you can knock it loose. So we used the trenching shovel, and then once we got pretty deep, we started using our post hole digger to kind of get all of the stuff in the very bottom of the hole out. And then I tried to use the post hole digger to kind of loosen up that cement everything in the ground, which it did. It just wouldn't lift it out of the ground. I tried a few different things, including by lifting it by hand, and that just didn't work. What I ended up doing was getting a tie-down strap, and I wrapped it around underneath kind of the lip of the concrete, and then just kind of looped it around as best as you can, and got some leverage by putting it up against my elbow, and then just kind of slowly pulling it up and out of that hole. It's really heavy. That's the only way I really found to make it work. Then I went ahead and got my new post. They're about 40 bucks at Lowe's, and took it over to the hole, and then I put in the bottom rail from the easiest moving side, and then I put it in the hole. At this point, then I'm going to start putting all of the individual vertical pieces back in to that side that's attached to the new post. And then once I get all of those pieces in, we're going to slowly and easily, as best as we can, it might take a few tries to get the top rail into that new post section. And then actually on the other side, I found it easier to take these middle vertical pieces out, at least like 6 or 7 of them, just to make this a little bit easier, because you're going to have to flex and move things a little bit, which is why having a big hole is helpful. So as you can see here, I kind of just had to wedge it in there, and it's going to be tight, but you kind of got to force it down and into that hole. And then once that bottom rail is in, you can start by putting those vertical pieces back in. And then after you get this last piece in, this is going to be the most difficult part of this entire project. But you got to pull and kind of wedge that top rail in. I tried to pull it, didn't work, so I went on the other side and pulled it from the back to kind of create a little bit more space. Then you can wedge in that top rail into that hole and then push it back, and then you can make sure it's nice and level. Once it's level, then you're going to grab your bag of concrete. This is fast set concrete, so we can pour it into the hole and then we'll add water afterwards. I promise it works. We used it for our entire fencing. So after you get the whole bag in there, we can use a hose, but we didn't have one, so we just used a jug of water, and we used 2 of them to make sure it got nice and wet and set. And that is pretty much it. This was a super easy project. As you can see, it looks great. You can't even tell that it was broken. In reality, this took about 30 minutes, and I highly recommend it for anyone who has this problem. Don't let it intimidate you. I promise you can do this and make your fence look perfect again. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it, and we'll see you guys next time.